So I was just sitting here thinking after I had my prayer and meditation is what I generally do in the morning to get myself pumped and ready for the day. Just try to pray, meditate it out, and just get ready for my day-to-day life with dealing with the kids, married stuff, work, all that, right? But one of the things that I've been dealing with in my mama journey, since I became a mom, is I've been dealing with major anxiety and anxiousness. And I don't know if that's a normal thing to deal with, as you're coming into your motherhoodness, if that's a word. I know it's not. Or if I'm the only one, but I know I'm not the only one. I know there are other women out here, or parents for that matter, who are kind of dealing with a little bit of anxiety and anxiousness. And, COVID-19, the pandemic ain't really helped the process. But nevertheless, I think one of the main reasons why a lot of us are dealing with a lot of anxiety and anxiousness, I know for me, it's because I feel like we are breaking a lot of generational curses in the area of parenting and also just bad parenting cycles. I'm not saying we were all raised bad. I mean, you know your story. You know how, your parents raised you. I can honestly say I came from a Christian background, Christian upbringing. I mean, the system was flawed. We all know that. But for the most part, my parents kept it real with us. They raised us, me and my siblings, right, to the best of their ability. You know what I'm saying? It was some flaws there. I mean, parenting ain't easy, and that's something that we're learning, right? It's not an easy thing. It has its big eye moments, really? You on that? But overall, we was raised pretty well. However, I can say that even from our parents, there were some parenting methods and some parenting tactics that they did with no context. Meaning they just did it because their mom and their daddy did it to them, or did it for them, or this how my parents talked to me, or this how my parents raised me, or for the most part, this is what my parents did to, get me on a straight and narrow. And I turned out fine. I worked out okay. And in retrospect, I guess, but there are still some cycles and some tactics and some ways that we were parented or raised that I know a lot of us just didn't agree with, or as we've gotten older, we can honestly say, that caused some trauma in my life, or that's the reason why I'm a little inconsistent in certain areas because of that. Sorry, my husband called me. But anyway, this ain't a bashing the parents that raised us talk. This ain't that. What I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to just shed some light on some of the things that I've been dealing with. I know, like I said, some of the things that they did or said or whatever, however way it worked out, caused a little trauma, you know what I'm saying, or maybe a little inconsistency in your life. Not necessarily done in a malicious way, and it wasn't. It was just based upon, there's no book on how to raise kids. Did y'all know that? We just out here free balling it. We don't know what we're doing. But what I can honestly say is that I know a lot of my anxiety and frustration comes from me wanting to do it right. If my kids do something and not responding in the way that I, saw responding to growing up. And I'm not saying that the way it's in my head, but, responding to our kids in ways that we know will cause encouragement for growth and will cause encouragement for them to continue to want to come to you and talk to you and tell you things, to encourage great communication skills versus responding to them in ways that causes fear and anxiety and anxiousness to just always be in them. And that could probably be a lot of the reasons why a lot of us are also dealing with a lot of fear and anxiousness and anxiety, because of just the responses that we've gotten throughout the years from our parents and growing up. Again, I'm not bashing nobody's mama or daddy, okay? At the end of the day, I can honestly say I understand, because it's not easy and you do the best you can with what you got. You know what I'm saying? For those of us who are not able to get constant, moments and breaks throughout the day or throughout the month where the kids can go to grandma's house or go to another relative's house so you can have some free time. That's not the case for a lot of us. So you are living with a constant sense of heightened anxiety and overstimulation all the time. And I understand that because in some ways I've been like that. However, I know that you're not an angry mama. You're not angry. You're just trying to figure it out because you don't want to do it necessarily the way you saw it done. You know, your frustration with your child is not necessarily I'm mad at her or frustrated at him for what they did, but it's more so I can't respond the way I want to respond because the way I want to respond is not the correct response. I need to respond with more compassion and love and more understanding because number one, they're 3 and 4 or 4 and 5, whatever. They're kids. They're maneuvering through life the way I'm trying to figure out how to maneuver through life with them. They're still new to this earth, so emotions and things that they don't necessarily understand, they're still trying to figure it out. All while mommy and daddy are still trying to stay stimulation-free, stress-free, calm as hell, and keep a job, pay bills. All this is still managed to make sure that the kids are being raised and dealt with in a proper way. And you're trying to do this in a way that's never been done before because you've made a choice in your life that I'm just going to do things differently for me and mine. That alone can cause anxiety and stress. Why? Because you ain't never seen it done before. You doing something that's never been done in your bloodline, your lineage, and none of that. You paving ways and cutting down trees and bushes and grasses to a ground that has never had a pavement before. So yeah, it's going to be a little intense. It's going to be a little rough. You're going to want to toss these kids like a field goal out the window. All that. Yeah. But you doing good. You're doing good. Why? Because you're trying. Because you see a method that didn't work for you. Or you see how some things may have been inconsistent for you. Or how some things may have caused some trauma in your life for you and your upbringing and you're coming up and you're saying to yourself, I just don't want that for my kids. I just don't want to respond the same way that I was responded to. And not saying that, again, we're not bashing nobody, mama and daddy. We're not saying that they didn't know what they was doing. A lot of the things that our parents did, or the boomers, as we would like to call them, a lot of the ways of how they raised us was simply based upon how they were raised. Again, not necessarily having context as to why we're doing what we're doing, but it seems like it's working, so I'm going to do it too. I don't want to raise my kids with the fear tactic. I don't want to raise them in fear. I want to raise them in love and in trust, because in these days, like the days we are living in now, I don't need my kids keeping no secrets from me or being afraid to talk to me about nothing. I need for y'all to be as comfortable and as honest with mommy and daddy as possible, because we all got to be diligent. We all got to keep our eyes open these days because there's a lot going on. And the best way that I'm learning to do that is to just continue on my journey of just trying to parent, finding the best way to parent for me and mine. You know, the anxiety and the anxiousness, I'm starting to realize it's there because you're doing something new. There's no handbook, ain't no pamphlet, ain't no cheat sheet, ain't nothing you could text your friends to assist in this, because this is all hands-on experience. You got to get engrafted in the parenting life to really understand what it's about. So, yeah, that's it.